Module 1, the oceans of our planet. Salinity, temperature, and density. Experiment 1.3, the effects of salinity and temperature on the density of water. This experiment will help us explore how salinity and temperature affect the density of seawater. And so we're going to create various temperatures and salinities of water and see how those densities compare to one another. The first part of this lab, you have to create some salt water. And so I went ahead and did that ahead of time. It's the same procedure we did in the previous lab where you just take water, put it in a saucepan, and get the water boiling and add some salt to it. And so I've got that salt water here in this measuring cup that's going to be cooling. Now we want to take 2 glasses, our first 2 glasses, and just fill them with regular room temperature tap water, about 1/3 of the way full. Okay, in these first 2 glasses, I'm going to take 2 different colored types of food coloring. I like using blue and yellow because they contrast very easily. And we want to put a couple of drops of blue food coloring into the first glass. Just 2 drops. And I'm going to stir that around. Rinse that off and dry it. And then 2 drops of yellow food coloring into the next glass, and the same thing, stir it around. Now it's always good to protect the surface of your counter when you're doing this because we don't want to have permanent science stains on our kitchen counters. Okay, you see we've got room temperature blue and room temperature yellow. And this is actually the control part of our experiment. What happens when just the same kind of water gets mixed together? And so I'm going to take my turkey baster and get some water, some blue water, and very carefully place it into the bottom of the glass that has yellow water in it. And watch closely what happens. First I'm going to take some, you don't have to put all of the blue in, and I'm using my finger to help keep it from getting into the yellow until it's just near the bottom. And then slowly add the blue at the bottom. You need to be very careful and very slow. And then don't let go of the baster until you lift it up out and put your finger back in. Otherwise you suck the water back up. Okay, and so look closely at that. You can see that the 2 colors are mixing together a little bit as those water molecules are moving around. I'm going to rinse my turkey baster. And we're going to do the next part of this experiment comparatively. Okay, so now I want to fill a glass with chilled water, which is my 3rd glass. So I have chilled water here, about 1/3 of the way full. And then I'm going to use very hot tap water in my 4th glass. Careful not to burn yourself. Let it get nice and hot. It's not hot enough. Okay, that's good. All right, we're going to put 2 drops of blue food coloring in our cold water and stir it. Cap it back, stir, rinse. Dry it off. I like to use paper towels to dry these off because if you're using a regular towel, you might get some food coloring residue and stain your towels. You don't want to do that. So now we're going to put 2 drops of yellow food coloring in the warmer water and stir that around. Rinse. And it's time for our turkey baster. Let's see what happens when the cold water gets exposed to the warmer water. and just very slowly. Little at a time. Again, don't let go of the bulb until you pull it out. Otherwise, you're sucking up the water. Now take a close look at that and compare the blue and yellow of the hot-cold water combo to the blue-yellow of the same temperature water. And you should see that the colder blue water is in a layer below the yellow water. That means that cold water is more dense than warmer water. And the denser material then will, of course, sink lower. All right, I'm going to rinse this out. Okay, and we're going to try one more combination. Okay, let me double check here. I'm going to put the salt water in the 5th glass. Okay. And then tap water. So these have about the same temperature, but you can see one is salty and one is not. I'm going to put 2 drops of blue food coloring in my salt water. Stir that. Rinse. And the same thing, we're going to put 2 drops of yellow in our fresh water. Stir that around. And rinse. Okay, now we're going to take our turkey baster and do the same thing. We're going to take the blue salt water and carefully put it at the bottom of the yellow fresh water. So let me squeeze this out, take in some salt water. Okay, a little tricky, but you want to squeeze it very carefully. And you don't want to let go of the bulb until you pull it all the way out of the water. And look at the difference here. You should be able to see the blue water sits at the bottom of the yellow, the blue water being salty water and the yellow water being fresh water. So that tells us that salt water is denser than fresh water.
Often when scientists want to perform an experiment, they need something to compare their changes to. In experiment 1-3, you had several drinking glasses filled with various temperatures of water and various salinities. In the first 2 glasses, you had water with the same temperature and salinity in both of them. This is called the control part of the experiment. You see, it's important to see what happens to 2 identical samples of water when a portion is moved from one glass to another. When you placed the blue water-filled turkey baster in the yellow water container and slowly added the blue water, you should have seen blue water moving up from the bottom of the glass and mixing with the yellow water. In the next part of the experiment, you added a sample of cold blue water to warmer yellow water. The blue water should have pretty much stayed on the bottom of the yellow water glass. That's different than what happened in the control setup. Why? Well, colder water is denser because the water molecules are not moving as rapidly and are closer together. So the denser, colder blue water remain on the bottom. Finally, in the last part of the experiment, you added a sample of blue water with higher salinity to yellow water with lower salinity. Both the yellow and blue water had the same temperature, so the only difference from the control setup was salinity. In this case, the saltier blue water should have also mostly remained on the bottom of the glass below the yellow water with lesser salinity. So we can say that water with higher salinity has greater density. And that should make sense. The more dissolved material in water, the more stuff in it, making it denser. So as water gets saltier and saltier, its density increases. And the colder and colder it gets, the same thing happens. Now in the ocean, it turns out that temperature has a larger influence on water's density than salinity, because as I mentioned earlier, ocean salinities do not change very drastically, only deviating by a few parts per thousand. Temperature ranges, on the other hand, can fluctuate from -2 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Seawater also has other materials dissolved in it besides salts and other dissolved solids. Specifically, it has dissolved gases such as nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and oxygen. Gases actually dissolve better in cold water than they do in warmer water. That means you'll find higher concentrations of dissolved gases in the polar regions of the ocean as compared to tropical ocean waters. These gases naturally exist in the Earth's atmosphere and can dissolve into the ocean at its surface. Nitrogen gas doesn't play a major role in the life processes of most ocean organisms, but oxygen and carbon dioxide gases definitely do. Carbon dioxide is critical for producers, as they need it for photosynthesis. Marine plants and microorganisms, therefore, depend on dissolved carbon dioxide to survive. Oxygen is made as a product of photosynthesis, and marine organisms, including those that photosynthesize, need it for respiration, producing carbon dioxide as a byproduct. So we need to consider dissolved gases in the ocean as another important factor to support marine life. We can wrap up this section now with a few summary statements. Considering water density, we can say that the densest seawater is found on the bottom of the ocean, but the physical processes causing water to be more dense are evaporation and cooling, and those happen on the ocean's surface. That means that dense water on the ocean bottom had to have once been on the surface, then sunk to where it is now. Denser water sinking occurs mostly at the edge of ice sheets. That's because when salt water freezes to form ice, it doesn't include salt. So cold, extra salty water forms in winter and then sinks to the bottom of the ocean. And that is how water gets down from the surface to the deep ocean. When we look at the oceans throughout the world, we see that there are two major layers. The top layer is made up of less dense, well-mixed water that is warmed by solar energy. But the warming effects of sunlight can only penetrate so far. At a certain depth, there is a noticeable decrease in temperature. This depth is called the thermocline, and below the thermocline, there is the second layer, which is made up of cold, denser water. Because the upper and lower layers are made up of different densities, the thermocline behaves as a barrier, making it difficult for the mixing and exchange of gases and nutrients between them. These varying physical features sometimes will even keep organisms from swimming from one layer to the other.